So I think this is going to be maybe the second to last cycling video, because I've reached Bajormi and I'm going to get rid of the bike in Tbilisi, sell it or give it to someone, I don't know. So yesterday was crazy because obviously the day before, I already explained the story in the last video, I arrived at a place I can't pronounce. Yeah, I can't pronounce it. And it was, that was 97 Ks. So that was pretty brutal, given, you know, the last couple of days of partying and no sleep. And then on Google Maps, when I input Bajormi, there were two ways, and the car way took me really far away from this road that seems direct to Bajormi, which is always suspicious, and I should have gotten onto that. But I then utilised the foot trail, and that recommended this road, right? So I'm following this route, and maybe for like the first 25 kilometers, it's just a normal road. Everything's going fine. There's a lot of uphills, but I saw from the predicted route that it would be elevation for the first like 40%, but a relatively calm elevation, and then it would be a solid downhill all the way. God, I look tired. All the way to Bajormi, right? And after that first 25 Ks, the road just stops. There is no road, and it just goes over this mountain, and it's just a trail. There's just no road at all. It's just people are making the road, and when I say people, there's like one car every hour or so. And I've got too much weight on the bike, which is here, by the way, now. I'm just waiting for the train to Tbilisi. So I can't cycle. I couldn't cycle up it with nothing, to be honest, because Gear 1 doesn't work. There's been a problem with Gear 1 ever since, and that's been serviced, and I've had repairs done, and it's Gear 1 still fails, so clearly it's a design of the bike. But so I had to hog the bike up all the way to the top of the mountain in just brutal heat. I didn't cream up my my arms; they're a little bit burned. And I've got one burn spot here. I put cream everywhere except this little dot, and the sun just... So that's annoying. But yeah, I had to hog this bike up, and it starts pouring with rain on the top of the mountain. The temperature change was drastic. In the middle of nowhere, there are a few like shepherds. It's completely misty, so I can only see like 10 meters in front of me. But there are these just vast flocks of sheep that they always graze up in the high altitudes, high ranges during the summer period before returning them obviously to the lowlands. It's the same in Kyrgyzstan. But this one guy comes out of the mist screaming, and I generally would have like tried to escape had I had the ability, but it was uphill, and I'm obviously, you know, pushing this bike along through this gravel and this dirt and this mud. And this fucking guy comes up to me, and they all look, all these, because I've met two on the road before, they look like, I don't know what they're like something from a fucking movie. Like their racial profile is so weird. It's like a mix between like Romani gypsy, but more Indian than gypsy. I know gypsies, Romani gypsies come from India originally, but like super authentically old gypsy without having any European mingling, which of course most Romanis in Europe probably have had over the years, mixed with locals over the last couple of centuries. These guys have just been up in the mountains, and they're like, genetics are like pure gypsy. It's crazy. Like the skin color is so weird. It's like it's not black, it's not brown, it's like, it's almost like it's just weird, man. Like completely unique, kind of like an untouched genetic code, right? Anyway, this one guy comes up to me, he starts fucking trying to communicate with me. Obviously he doesn't understand me, I don't understand him. He makes these weird gestures. We're in the middle of nowhere, right? And this guy's doing this. He's like, oh, he keeps doing that. He's like, I'm like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? And then he starts like mentioning food, and then and then he says something like supermarket, and everyone thinks I'm German. Everyone always says like Alman or whatever. And he's basically trying to get food off me. I didn't have any food actually, which is ridiculous. I had no food at all from when I left that morning. I had just a ton of water, so water's fine. I've still got the same water in packs now actually. I drank a load and I've still got a load left, so the most important thing I had. But yeah, so then he kind of disappears off, and I'm just like, fuck it. So I put all my strength into just trying to get this bike over this little peak, and then it flattens out, and I escape enough before the incline comes back, and then I've hopped off and I'm walking again. So this goes on. This is about 4 hours total of walking, and I left at 12:30 because I wanted to maximise my time in the hotel that I paid for, and I was blitzed anyway. You can still tell by my eyes I'm absolutely shattered. I had no sleep last night as well here, and I get to the top. It's bloody pouring rain, and out of nowhere there's like a little hut and these army guys, right? And they're just initially ignoring me, so I go to cycle past them because this is the plateau, but literally meters before the decline, which goes all the way for 35 kilometers and beyond. So yeah, anyway, one guy comes running after me and he stops me and he speaks perfect English. So this is where it gets suspicious. There's definitely something quite important up there, because we're in the middle of fucking nowhere. It's like the grimmest place you could possibly work. There's no one around, and you've got a very educated Georgian officer. He speaks fluent English. You can tell very educated. So I imagine there's a comm station up there. But yeah, the guy asked my passport, and I was like, I don't have it. I gave him a screenshot, and he pictured that, and then he went back in and he said, I'll be back in 5 to 10 minutes. I actually gave him a screenshot of my old passport, and it was freezing cold, and it was fucking rain smashing in my face. And then after about 10 minutes, he comes back and says I can go. So then I blitz down this mountain. When I mean like there's no road, like really, it's just it's trail with huge rocks, and I can only see a few meters in front of me because of the mist. And honestly, I have gained so much respect for this cheap bike. I blitzed that all the way down for 35 kilometers, of which 20 was this terrain. Smashing tires constantly, just like my bike is just rattling like this, hitting everything with the tire, and somehow they're not shredded. I don't know, it's impossible. At this point I was freezing cold. I was so cold I couldn't even stop to change into jumpers. I was that cold. My hands are like stuck to the handlebars. Brakes failed, I think earlier that day. By this point they've completely failed, and in addition to that, it's mud up in the brakes, and it's cold, and just everything's fucked on the bike. So I've got no brakes, bombing down. When I mean no brakes, like if I slam my hands on both of them, I've got 8 seconds until I slow, not even halt, just slow. No helmet, not very safe, smashing down, zero visibility, and yeah, it was bloody fun, I can tell you that. If you had a BMX or a mountain bike and a helmet with decent brakes, man, oh. And to be honest, it's probably better not to have the brakes, because if you slam it on, I'd be over the handlebars anyway. But it eventually reached the point where, I can't remember the name of the place, it's Bukariani or something like this. It's a ski resort, which is packed now, even though it's not ski season. It's just Arab tourists. Horrible place. I don't know why anyone goes to these places. They're like, we have the same in Kyrgyzstan, like just grim, post-Soviet decline, just impoverished, cheap, dirty, glass trash everywhere resorts, but all these rich people go there. I just don't get it. I don't get it. To horrible places. And there's so many beautiful places in Georgia. I don't know why you go there. I mean, Spineti is unbelievable, one of the best places in the world. Anyway, though, because of that, there's like an absolute load of traffic, and I've got no brakes, and I'm almost back-ended so many nice cars just going through the town. And then we're on the flats, we're on the roads, and it's just these, roads which are winding through the gorges, the ravines, essentially mountain roads, swerving in and out, and I'm just blitzing down, no helmet, 40 plus kilometers an hour, like faster than most of the cars, no helmet, no brakes, so dangerous. And I was racing because the place I was at now, that I was staying last night, I thought that they closed at 9, because that's what it said on their website or on their booking.com info. And it was getting close to that, so I just blitzed it, maxed it, got here for 8:30, and then went to check the train schedules, and I'll be departing today for Tbilisi at 5 p.m. So that's basically the last of the bike trip. It was really epic, and I'm glad I ended on that, because it just gives me more incentive to get another bike, to rent a bike whenever there's an opportunity to cycle. When I'll be in Nepal, I'm definitely going to get a bike. just so good. Definitely a mountain bike next time. This is a hybrid bike, this is a trail bike, a touring bike, and tyres held up really, really well. There it is again. Tyres held up really, really well. Honestly, for what I paid for that bike, as people know if they've watched the first one, I paid $169 for that new on Amazon, and I didn't even pay. I had Amazon gift cards, I just used those. And for that price, there has been some issues. There's clearly a permanent issue with the braking system because I've had it serviced by professionals and it keeps reverting back. Gear 1's permanently broken. Gear 6 is very dodgy as well. But all in all, for the price paid, the actual frame, the 20-inch tyres or 29-inch tyres are they? Everything else, I cycled all the way to Bulgaria with that, and then from Turkey to here. It's done a good job. It really has done a good job, and I think I played the strategy perfectly. Don't think it would have been good to buy an expensive bike. I mean, why? And now I'm just going to get rid of that. I've got a lot of things probably worth quite a bit of money in there that I haven't really used actually. So number one thing that I wouldn't do again is I bought gas, and I brought a stove, only a tiny stove. It's like this big, so that's not. But the gas takes up a bit of weight and a bit of space and quite a bit of weight. And I just had no incentive to use it. There's no reason really, because there's always a shop, close enough. Even if you're camping for a few days in remote places, there's always somewhere before that and after that you're going to be able to buy things, and it's just not worth having that extra weight, to be honest. What else wouldn't I have brought? Yeah, too many clothes, too many shirts. But I was leaving for a long time, and I like shirts. I brought like 5 t-shirts and 5 shirts. So I'm going to get rid of all t-shirts and keep the shirts. I'll just be packing my backpack when I go to Iraq and Qatar and stuff. So what else is in there? I don't really know. Probably maybe too many of the same tools. The weight adds up. Most of them came free with bits and pieces that I got for the bike, and I just kind of threw them all in. But I've got like the same tools, so there's probably at least a kilo I could throw out there. Obviously, if I was doing this like more professionally and I was going to like the Pamir Highway, somewhere more off-road where it's a lot more difficult, I would be a little bit more cautious with what I take. But this setup is basically a setup that I've copied from the internet. I never liked the panniers on the front and back wheels. People say it's good for weight distribution. The lower they are, the better it is for the stability of the bike. Stability wise, never really had a problem with this setup. And originally, what you see on the front and the back there, they were attached, and they were the rear panniers that ripped in half. So when you have that, then there's instability because you've got all the weight flicking around on the back, and when you get the crosswinds, it hits essentially the most important tyre, which is the back tyre. So I think the setup's really good in terms of the weight distribution. It's all centered along the frame. And I didn't really bring anything aside from that, maybe 4 or 5 kilos over. I'm carrying the backpack, which is about 15 kilos. Oh, actually there is a fuckload of things that I shouldn't be bringing. I have like 6 mobile phones, which is ridiculous, and a lot of electronic chargers and stuff. I've got like two shaving systems, 2 electric shavers, don't need those. 6 phones. I don't know why I have 6 phones. Basically I wanted to get 2 eSIM phones, and I ended up getting one that was locked from the US, a Google Pixel. Should be eSIM, but it's locked, so I've just been carrying that around. So then I replaced that with a G54. G54? Yeah, so this is a G53 Motorola eSIM, and I just bought a G54, so I have 2. So I just got a weird notification on my phone. And the other ones I just basically got free, and I have my original one, so it's the 4th one, and then I got a BlackBerry and a fucking old Samsung just for GPS, which the Samsung I used a bit. So all of this is extra weight. The electronics, I've got my laptop, I need that, but there are a few things that I don't need, and I would say probably I could cut off 5 kilos easily from that, which would make a massive difference, of course. All weight does, but 5 kilos would make a huge difference. That said, even going through Austria and over peaks and stuff like that, I often find that if you're going up a hill and it's difficult, you're going to be going slowly, and it's so strenuous. You're going to be burning away your muscles anyway. So I prefer to get off the bike and walk it up, because I'm pretty fast anyway, and often I'll be able to maintain the same speed as if I was chugging up with my legs, but I'm not burning all of that energy. So I think it's better, to be honest, to mix it up and walk. And I see it as a nice little break anyway, and it's it's good for your bum and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I would conclude there. The only other thing that I would have liked, it's a tiny little thing, maybe another bracket to attach a extra water bottle, because I bagged them, but there's only one screw for that kind of mechanism, and that's where you see the bottle now. There's not one on the on that rear frame, on the rear vertical. You can buy the ones that screw, which I had, and they were shit, so I prefer these ones. This is an expensive one, that, but aside from that, I would say buy decent pannier front frames, because the one on the back's okay, good. That one's decent quality. The one on the front is shocking. That's the second replacement, and it's already broken, and that's why it's tied off at the handlebars. And yeah, so I'll be getting rid of a load of stuff. I'm just going to throw it up on Georgian eBay or whatever, and just give it away if no one wants to buy it. I only expect like 50 quid, if that, to be honest. So there we go. I'll probably do one more video when I get rid of the bike, but until then, this is it from Bajormi, and I'm shattered, so I'm looking forward to sleeping properly tonight when I get to Tbilisi, and I really like Georgia, so I'm very excited to go back to the capital.